It's springtime, baby! Woo! You know what that means. Time for little baby birds to come falling out of their nests. Yeah, so springtime is a time when a lot of people end up finding baby birds. Sometimes they are babies that fell out of their nest. Sometimes they're babies that your cat caught and dragged out of a nest. Sometimes they're babies that are learning to fly. And so I just wanted to cover some of the most basic questions that people have about what to do when I find a baby bird. Now, just so y'all know, I'm only talking about songbirds today, okay? So like little, tiny, cute, like birds that come to your feeder, okay? I'm not going to talk about what if you find a baby eagle or you find a baby swan or a rail or a toucan or whatever else. If you find a baby duck or a baby goose, they are called precocial birds. They're precocious. That means that when they come out of the egg, oh, look at the little ducky! When they come out of the egg, they can pretty much walk and do everything that they need to do right away as long as they're with their mommy. So getting them back to their mommy is the best thing to do. But obviously, like, that's not always easy. So, you know, that's where the wildlife rehabilitator comes in. Songbirds are not precocial. They come out of the eggs completely naked and helpless, and they look like this. They're not very cute. They're so ugly. You were once ugly. Yes, you were. You were so ugly. So Kiddo here is an example of a passerine bird. He is a European starling, and I've had him for almost 12 years. I got him as a chick when he was attacked by a cat. He came into the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, and for different circumstances, I ended up having him as a pet. Can you keep your baby bird that you find in your yard as a pet? Probably no, and this is why. In our awesome country where we care about our wildlife, there is a law called the Migratory Bird Act, and it protects all native birds from being owned by people who don't have a license to do so. Kiddo, as a European starling, he's from Europe, so he's not native. So I am allowed to have him. I wouldn't have done so if I wasn't 100% confident that I could take care of him as a baby, especially, and as a pet. I'm never going to do it again because it's a huge responsibility. They're totally naked and helpless and don't have any feathers to keep them warm. And if you find a baby like that, then you really need to get it back to his mom within the hour, and if you can't, it needs to go to a rehabilitator. They dehydrate quickly. They lose heat very, very quickly. You probably shouldn't try to feed it. These are the things that people try to feed baby birds that they shouldn't try to feed them. Milk and bread. Kiddo, are you a mammal? Do you like milk? Did you drink your mother's milk from her breast? No? Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't give you milk. Sorry, it's just like it doesn't make sense, and I'm irritated by it. But I don't want to be irritated. I want to inform. And bread just isn't good for birds. I know there's a lot of birds that eat bread, and you know, apparently they don't have a problem with it. Just don't do it to a baby, okay? They have really sensitive tummies. They can't digest it, okay? They need their mommy's like bug vomit, okay? Basically, the short answer for what do I do when I find a baby bird is get it to a wildlife rehabilitator. That is not always very easy, and so that's why I'm making this video, to help you figure out what to do in the meantime if you can't get it to a wildlife rehabilitator right away, or if you might be able to not put another burden on the awesome wildlife rehabilitators that sacrifice their entire lives and don't get paid anything except donations to do what they do. There are a lot of cases where you can get the animal back to his mommy or to his natural habitat without causing more burden on the people who are already trying to save the babies that are already in the rehab center. Here's the thing about finding a wildlife rehabilitator in your area. There's probably not one right around the corner. It's probably like an hour away. And if you call them, you might not get an answer right away because they're busy feeding baby birds and baby bunnies and baby snakes and injured eagles and stuff like that. So, it's a kind of a funny situation because yes, it's illegal for you to have possession of a wild animal in your house because it's a wild animal and you're not allowed to have it. But at the same time, it's not easy to get the animal to a rehab place right away, right? Like you have to go to work and you have to take your children to school, like things like that. So it can get complicated. And so please look in the links below for wildlife rehabilitators in your area or databases to find wildlife rehabilitators in your area. And if anybody has more resources about that, I encourage you to share them in the comments below. Okay, but more often what people find in their yards are fledgling baby birds, and they are the older versions of little nestling guys. Okay, so they're not naked nestlings, they're fledglings, and fledgling means they're learning to fly. So actually, if you look at this picture, see how the feather, like it's still kind of stuck in its shaft a little bit? Because it's still, when they come out, they're like little pins and they have a sheath around them and it falls off over time. And so the feathers just kind of come out as they like shed that little extra skin. So the fledglings are gonna eventually, you know, hop out of the nest and start running around in your yard, and it might be the first time they've ever stepped outside the nest. And so yeah, they might look like they're hurt, or they might look like they can't fly. Well, guess what? They can't. So you know, but they're learning and they're developing their muscles, and so it's a critical time for them. They can get attacked by a cat, they can get attacked by a raccoon. Absolutely. Their instincts tell them to go hide in the bushes, and hopefully they go hide in the bushes and mommy knows where they are, and they have this little secret communication going on that you're not always aware of, and mommy will usually find them. So with a fledgling, you can watch to see if mommy comes back for it. You can just stay in your house because mommy ain't gonna come over while you're out there bothering its baby. Unless it's a mockingbird, then she will come bop you on the head. But mommy ain't gonna come out and, you know, risk her life while you're about to eat her baby because she thinks you're gonna eat her baby. And so you can just sit there and watch, and if mom comes back and, like, you know, interacts with the baby, it's like, oh, okay, mom knows where the baby is. There's nothing to do. Within a day, that baby will be in the branches flying. Like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. So it's kind of funny because a lot of wildlife rehabilitators are full this time of year with baby birds who have been kidnapped. And that means they were fine. They were not injured. They were not sick. They were trying out their new wings. Do you hear that? Kiddo, that's a terrible sound. So just don't be a kidnapper. I mean, it is a tough call. I totally get it. It's a tough call because if you have a cat and you suspect that the bird has been attacked by a cat, then you should actually try to get it to a wildlife rehabilitator. Anyway, so what to do if you're gonna try to get the baby back to his mom? If it's a fledgling and it is hopping around, flapping around, you know, its eyes are open, its eyes are bright, it's probably gonna open its mouth at you because it wants food. Anytime it sees kind of a shadow like coming over top of it, it's like, oh, mommy, ah! You know, and it's not too scary. It's not like because it wants to bite you. It's because it thinks you're gonna give it food. Those animals, you can leave them. You really don't. You don't want to kidnap them. You can pick them up and put them under a bush. Like if they're out in the middle of a field where they're like totally gonna get caught by something, totally, you can go pick them up. you can put them somewhere safe, somewhere dark and hidden and safe. You're not gonna get any diseases from a baby bird, okay? Just don't lick it and wash your hands when you get back inside, okay? You're not gonna get West Nile virus. That gets contracted through mosquitoes anyway. So just don't lick its butt and you'll be just fine. Just to show you what it's like to hold a bird, it is not like the most sweetest thing. It's not like holding a kitten or a puppy. Kiddo has been my pet for 12 years, and so he knows that he can fight me. But whether or not they're fighting you, they're always going to have these crazy legs, little kicky legs, and they'll probably grab onto your finger just because, you know, they're used to grabbing onto things like perches. They might bite you. Look, he's biting me. Oh, it hurts so much. It hurts so much. It doesn't hurt because these guys eat bugs. They eat ants and spiders. Okay? So, unless it's a cardinal. If it's an adult cardinal, it will hurt. But other than that, you know, it's okay. Like, look, I'm holding the thing. Like, is it pleasant? No, but I'm fine. Like, I'm totally fine. Okay, you can go now. Oh, it was so horrible, wasn't it? So totally don't be afraid to pick up a baby bird. It's totally fine. A lot of people are afraid that if they touch a baby bird, the mom's not good. The mom's going to abandon it. And it's actually not true. With little passerine birds, they do not really have a sense of smell. And their instincts to take care of their babies are way stronger than, you know, anything that they think about how you interacted with their baby. You don't want to meddle. You definitely don't want to like keep going out there and checking on it and like getting in the way and getting, you know, because every time you go out there, mama is going to wait another half hour before she comes to the baby. So you can't just keep going out there every 5 minutes. If it's a baby that needs to be in a nest, like the little naked nestlings, try to find the nest. Try to put the baby back in the nest. Okay? If it's young enough, it won't try to jump out again. Just find the nest, put it back in, done, go away. Don't, you know, mommy will probably be screaming from a couple branches up. She'll be like, ah, ah, don't mess with my babies. But totally just put the baby back in. Whatever. The mom will forget about it. She'll be like, oh, I guess my baby's back. Or she might not even notice. If you can't find the nest, then you can make your own. You can make your own out of just like a little yogurt cup and some paper towels and tissues and stuff. That's what Kiddo spent his first few weeks with me in. He had a little makeshift nest, and there's lots of instructions on how to do that in the links below. But you can totally just make a new nest. However, you still need to make sure that mommy is coming back to check on the baby. And she totally will. She won't care that it's in like a yogurt cup nest. She'll be like, oh, a mouth to feed. You can also just call the rehabilitator and ask them like, hey, what do I do? Because they'll have more specific ideas about species and the time of year in your location and what you should do and the kind of foliage you have, all that stuff. So definitely get like informed details about how to do that. But I'm just trying to empower you that you can do these things. You can make a nest. You can pick up the baby. It's okay. It's gonna be a weird experience if you've never done it before, but it can be done. And honestly, the more you can do to keep the animals where they were born and in the habitat in which they were raised, rather than take them to the wildlife rehabilitator, they will always appreciate that too, because they have so much work to do. They have so much work to do. So they will appreciate you being a homegrown wildlife advocate. So there's definitely a lot more to know about taking care of wildlife and taking care of birds when you find them. And please don't use my video as, you know, a complete resource. But the main message is there are things you can do. Consult your local wildlife rehabilitator. You can't keep the bird for yourself, but there are lots of things that you can do to help get the bird back to the wild.
Oh, I'm such a precious bird. I'm so precious.
And now I'm gonna show you why you really don't want to have a pet starling. Oh god, it's so gross. Look at all that poop. Oh no. Because Kiddo sits up here on the shower and then he just poops. Poop, 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 poop. Ew, Kiddo. You just pooped on me. On my shirt.